G'day and welcome. In this one we take a look at Dave's van. We get it finished to the point where he can take it home and finish the little bits and pieces there. And we've got a history of working together. He is going to help me do a bit more work, I should say, on our little Starlie. Another Starlie. So, hope you enjoy. And don't forget, take extra special care of yourselves during these times. Hope you enjoy. So these are hot wires. They're a Falcon pattern. They're the same as the Toyotas. They've been painted with VHT engine enamel, which is just your QD enamel. It might have an additive for heat. The best way to do these, I would think, is using fine line tape. You can buy, you can get these wheels readily. They're becoming quite expensive because a lot of retro sort of people like them. So they've all been painted. So we've got to take it off the faces, and I've been using a razor blade and a bit of 240 with some water. You can buy fine line tape. This is probably a tiny bit wide. But you can get it narrower, so it's probably easier just to run over them with a bit of wet and dry, just to make, or use it wet, just to make sure it's a nice clean edge, then mask them, and then sort of paint them, and you can just take all this stuff off, and you don't have to go through the fuss of getting it off. This is quite sticky paint. It's adhered very well, and you go through a couple of blades. It's not that big of a deal to get it off. Originally we tried to just run over it with wet and dry, and it was horrendous to get off. You're just rubbing it for ages because he's actually put it on quite thick. It does make your fingers a bit sore doing this, but you can see the adhesion's fantastic with the enamels, and you get a fairly good edge, once you go over it. But it's it's a look that he kind of wanted, and I can understand why he wanted it, because it does look a little bit better finished off when you do this, and it does add to it a bit, I think. So it's just a matter of going around it, getting this stuff off. Thankfully you didn't use a primer. If you used an etch primer, it'd be hellish to get off. But the engine enamels, or any of the enamel paints for that matter, do have excellent adhesion, so they're not that challenging to get to stick. You can stick them to anything. It's just getting them off that can be a bit of a pain. Of course, once you've used enamel, you can't put anything over the top. And of course, we're just using a spritz bottle. This is a bit of 240 and rubbing it out. And they do this similar sort of thing on motorcycle engines. You do have to get your clean line. You can see that's not a very clean line there, so you're kind of going either side of it a little bit and just trying to pick at it in the corners just to get it to look semi-decent. The other thing that'll happen is you're sort of rubbing a grain into the alloy, so where you come up to these ramped parts here, particularly if they're level like some of the wheels are, you do have to run around the whole rim with some 600 just to get the grain of it back, if you know what I mean. Otherwise it catches light in a different way. Well, I think I've got it basically how I want it. I'm just sort of looking around, making sure there's no, see that bit there? It probably seems a little bit over the top, but just small things like that can kind of stare. Just to make sure it's clean. Like the edge is all clean and that sort of stuff. This is just a small block of wood from my bodyworking arsenal. It's got all sorts of funny shaped bits and pieces in it. So let's start by getting all those little bits of red or orange scrapings off. And you can see there, I haven't done that well, so we've got to revisit that bit. You always see it after you hose it off. But the rest of it doesn't look too bad. It's just around the valve. It's a little bit messy, but I reckon we can get that looking good in no time. Headlights around these things, they actually house the entire headlight assembly and indicators and parkers. Then that bolts into the vehicle. One of them's chrome, got a chrome trim around it, and the other doesn't. Of course, we assumed that this one's missing because it's got holes there. It's actually different. This chrome is bonded onto it. It's just plastic chrome. And the same with the headlights around there, where this one's all silver. I don't know what the story with that was, whether it was black or white, I'm not sure. So we'll fill these holes up, paint it silver, and that will mean roughing this up, and I'll just etch those bits and paint that as well, so they can go back on then. A couple of other things. In front of us looking decidedly sad. Have we got some focus? Yes. One of the headlights, the driver's one, doesn't work on high beam. Thought it was a globe, but of course we've got a busted wire, which is pretty easy to fix. Just soldered that on. Don't know what we're going to do with this. It's almost, he doesn't want to paint it. He wants it left like that, and it's got this dodgy bit of old guy repair. That bothers me, but you know what? We'll honour it. We'll just buff it, and it'll get rid of all those, any of those sort of brown stain. Even though I've had that brown rain, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the brown stains around the stone chips. Most of those are gone because I think he's already polished it, but I'll go over it again. The easiest thing to do with this is to actually Scotch Brite it and clear it, I think. But we're not going to do that. We'll paint the front bar, and the stone tray, I might hammer and dolly that a bit just to straighten it out. I've just got to watch it though. I might use a block of wood or a wooden mallet. I'll bring a wooden mallet home. That's supposed to be black, so we can paint that at the same time you paint the bar. The bar actually doesn't look that bad, but I will give it a satin black job. That's cool. And of course the wheels are done. All the wheels are done. There's another one. Rear step. It's all sort of buckled around here. Well, again, I'll take that step off and paint it. Oh, come on, let's go. I'm right on top of the Polo now. I'm going to fall down on it. This is incredible, this thing. It's like a real time warp. I'll just pull that roof up. I pulled it down to do a repair. Actually, I might show you that first. Very untidy looking repair. Can we see it? Where is it? There it is. Now what had happened, I'll show you what's happened. I'm just going to put the roof up. Oh. Get a bit of air in here, eh? It's very comfortable, man. It's actually beautiful. It's just like a pop-top caravan, really. Now the problem with the roof is fiberglass, and the gel coat's sort of all powdery, and that retainer there was a rivet, whoops, had pulled through. Now what it had done, here in Melbourne we had some of the heaviest rain in such a long time, and there was I'm going to say 20 litres almost of water, a couple of buckets. It was hanging right down, and it was all because of that hole there, because it's in a low in the roof. Now I put an incision in it there, wouldn't come out. Dave did a better thing, got some curtain rod, put an incision here, and the vinyl held on. Well, it's not going to go in there now. The vinyl held on to this curtain thing. I can't get it in because it's, you know, it's all good. And we just drained it into a couple of buckets, and it all came out. There was a tiny bit left and it just evaporated, so it's all good. But we had water coming down here, dripping off here. There's a LED light fitting that I pulled off because that looked like it was being affected. And I better put it back, if I can remember how to put it back. Maybe I'll put it back later. But you know what? It's such a good van. It's very dated, and that's sort of its charm. It's a 1981 model, and Dave bought it at a very competitive price. And because the engine had thrown a leg out of bed, so he had to get another one rebuilt. There's the Polo. We've stuck some new headlights in the grille. Just waiting on the bonnet. We've bought a new bonnet for it. That's getting painted at the moment. I'm not doing it. And of course the door, which was in one of the Starlie videos, I think, that's getting painted. There's a girl at his work that is a professional painter, and he wanted to get it done in 2K, and he knew I wouldn't do it in 2K. So when they get here, that all goes back together when that car goes. But this is a beautiful old van. It's gorgeous. I think it's lovely. We've got to do this bull bar. He wants that done. Just weathered. Nothing wrong with it. And oh, I have to weld that bolt for the spare. It pushed through, so I'll just weld that back on. But beautiful, absolutely lovely. This all converts into a double bed. So really good and very drivable. It's very, very good on the road. It's all rebushed and sort of restored. So we've still got to do the step, the bull bar. we'll do the front bumper. Then we'll buff the whole thing, pardon me, we'll buff the whole thing out. It won't look much different, I don't think. You know, these decals, they're really period, sort of late 70s, early 80s type things. And they're kind of faded. I wouldn't put a buff over those. Maybe a light polish, just to get some of that thing off. Dave did them on one side and found that the decals are actually that colour right the way through, so it's not like it's printed like that little light stick on the side of the Starlie where you rub it and all the ink comes off. It's actually right the way through. So we'll just work on making it a bit more cosmetically pleasing, getting rid of a lot of this sort of surface rust stain. I think it's probably better to put a 2K clear over that, an ISO free one, just to stop it coming back. Heavy! We should let the dogs out. What?
Okay, hi.
How you going? Are you happy?
I know, this is my new car.
It's a very nice car. I love the colour. Look at the colour.
I know.
It's beautiful.
This is my new SUV.
I'd still prefer the Starlie.
Fuck off. No, I quickly went to the Sapphire because I had to,
Didn't they give you a tank of petrol?
yeah, they did. I had to get new plates.
Oh, the P plates.
So I had like green P plates. So if Rosie wants some learners, she's got some learners.
Gee, it smells nice. I love a new car smell. It's got the false bottom.
There's the false bottom, and then that goes up higher.
Yeah. Oh, it's got these. I had to buy them optional for our cars. The little hazard things.
New car smell.
It's a bit nicer than our cars, isn't it?
Wow, this is nice.
Yeah, it's comfy, isn't it? It's very comfortable. How many Ks has it got on it?
One.
No, they always have some. It's got calibrates. That's very VW.
Yeah, it's from Volkswagen, and these are from Audi.
It just looks exactly like a VW, doesn't it?
And if you go reverse, Dad.
Oh wow, that's a clear picture.
Yeah. Yours is probably a bit foggy because it's dirty too. Oh, we can't play.
Did he show you how to put petrol in?
No.
Oh.
Oh, that's the one question. Like, what petrol does it have? I'll ask that when I'm at 7.
It'll be under the thing. Look.
Yeah, just put this in the fridge.
Why has it got a scratch here?
Yeah, okay.
I'd take it back and say, fix
No,
that
Dad,
scratch.
I don't really care. What's the scratch?
It should say, no, it'll have a sticker. You can use regular 91 or you can use 95.
I'll use 95.
I got a real MG. It's very nice, Charlie. It's a nice looking car. I've got to get Dave around here and have a look, and we'll talk about it. I've got to solder that lead up. I've got the front bumper off, and the headlights rounds. These are the chrome ones. I've cleaned them all up, but I've got to paint that, and that's the one with the holes in it that were blocked up with the plastic fill, the proper plastic fill, and I've just got little. I've actually bogged little steel tabs behind there. Use the bog as an adhesive, or the bond as an adhesive, and then just filled over the top. It's the only way I can think of doing it. If it was going to be semi-reliable. This is a magnificent van. He had white walls put on, but he's put them on the other way. It's got a new 18R motor. It's just magnificent, and it drives so well. I mean, these things you would think would be wandering, horrible things, but they're not. can see all the steering linkages. That's why normally these things be all over the joint, but this one seems to be really, really good. He went with white walls and changed his mind, so I flicked him the other way. And it's got a new radiator in it. It's a peach of a van. It's exceptionally good. I knocked this out. This was all bent up and started filling, and then it rained. So I'm going to dig it all out and do it again. But we've got to paint the rear bumper and the step bar, the step. But even after all that rain, we never got any more water inside. It's actually really, really good. Fuck, have I got my finger? It's a splinter. So it's dry as a bone, which is wonderful. And that was massive. That rain was just huge. I think there was a tiny bit that dripped on here. But since we did that repair, dry as a bone. Excellent. So it's really, really good. So I'm still sort of working on that, which I've been lazy. Look, I could have finished this ages ago, but I just didn't. I wasn't sort of in the right zone, I guess. Back to work and all that sort of stuff, and life's busy. I'm supposed to be at a Michael Bublé concert tonight, and I'm sick, so I was going with my eldest daughter, but my youngest and eldest daughters have gone to that. I'm bummed because I love Michael Bublé, he's great. Dave's restorations.
Seen how Pete does
When
it.
he paints his finger. Do undo it because you'll see the spring when you wipe the...
God, you're a fussy fucker.
So we're doing the vent at the moment. Nearly trod on your vent.
That's alright. It'll be the first time something's gone near me vent, Peter.
Oh. That's filth. How are you going to do the other end?
Remember that night we went camping?
Don't know, Dave. We don't talk about turkey slaps and stuff like that. How are you going to do that bit?
I'm not, that's plastic.
Oh, smart enough.
That'll do for now.
Nice. Oh, haven't rubbed yet, did he? Alright, so I left this guy parked out the front yesterday, and someone stove the whole bloody back side in. It's probably not that obvious now because we pushed it out. Dave and I pushed it out. I run some buffing combine over to get rid of that paint, but the shut line was open right up, so I got that back. But it looks like crap. And this car was as straight as an arrow. He just sort of pushed it out from behind and boiling water and tapped it and bashed it and tried to make it pop out, but it does look fairly crap. But this car has been destroyed, so it doesn't matter that much. Dave's van, we've been working on this all today. So run a buff over it and it looks really, really smart. It looks really, really good. Happy. Lots of little rusty spots, wasn't there? There were. We've still got some up there, but Dave can do that. I don't want to do it. So just putting it back together, mirrors are off, we just blasted a bit of rattle can black over that, which looks really, really good. And the wipers, that's the way I do it too, which is grouse. The rewired the headlight with a broken wire. Just almost finished down this side. I'm just going to do the rear quarter and pop the headlight covers back on. And then, what have we done? We fixed the leak in the top, we did the wheels. All this has been redone. Dave did all that. All those are bits and pieces. And you know what? It's still got battle scars on it, but it's original paint. And this paint's really good. It's really, really thick. So I reckon it's great. I didn't understand it.
Thick as Dave.
Thick as Dave, probably as thick as me. But I didn't think, I thought, you know, this is a bodywork job, but I didn't want to do that. But at the end of the day, it's got all these retro sort of 70s, well, very early 80s. This is 81, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's 70s colours though, because actually it's odd because the brown, the orange and the yellow are the same colour pinstripe as what the brown XD had when it was new. Before I painted it about 12 years ago or so, it had that colour and I put the gold ones on. But yeah, that's really, you can probably run over this one a bit too. And these aren't printed, they're solid vinyl colours, so you can actually run the buff over them, which is gutsy doing that, but it did bring back the colour because they were kind of washed out, you know. So it just looks a bit milky there, and so that'll all come back. So what the plan of action is, we had like those look alright, but this side was pretty messed up. So what we've done, some typical old guy repair, has basically brush painted. So what we did was kind of run over there with some, what did we do? Did we buff? I think we buffed it, didn't we? I buffed it with just by hand because I didn't want to take any more paint off. Cleaned it all up with prep wash and then just rattle canned an acrylic clear on. It's left a little lip there so we can get that off with some 2000, buff out the edge and you won't see it. So I've got to do this quarter. These are a bit sort of damaged, so I've got to be really careful around there. And of course when he gets it home, which is today, because the condomitor is somewhere, it's there, it's back after about 4 months or something. Then he can go home, wash it, wax it. And I just
work on the van as well.
do some work on, yeah, that's it. Yeah, so you can wash and wax a few things. But we can get a toothbrush, get buffing compound. I just ran over that with a buff just to make it look a bit better. But it's such a time capsule, this thing. It'd be a terrible shame to sort of remove its originality. So that's it for the van for the moment. I'll turn this back on when we get the headlights back in and the bull bar on. And he's also, what have we got down here? Painted his bumpers, and we've got the bull bar as well. That's on the front porch, so they can go back on, and done a mighty fine job with that. They look great. And you're right, the satin does look pretty good. So we've got that, and being the type of people we are with the bartering system, Dave's going to help me with this guy. And this door is pretty much finished. I've just got to get some scratches out of there. That's a bit of 150. It's a bit deep, so I've got to go over that with 320 again.
Let's remember Dave's helping mechanically, not with rubbing stuff.
Yeah, no, the rubbing stuff I can handle myself. And yeah, so we're almost ready to prime this. You haven't seen this, I haven't shown you this. Taken all the clear off the roof, and it looks mighty fine. All the clear off here. There's a couple of deep scratches. We've got to get those out. I'm not taking these windows out. It'd be stupid to take those out because we'd run into the same problem we had where I actually had to take everything off there and go back to bare metal because it was all compromised with people slashing screens out, if you know what I mean. And this would be original, and so I don't want to take those out. So I'll just paint around them. 23 dents. I thought there was like 6 or 7. 23. 23 small dents. You know, so you know what? It's just a beater. And it's not that important that it's immaculate, but it is that important that I like it. What's that, sorry?
I'm too fat for your garage.
I'm too fat for my garage too. I can't find any room in there. Went to the wreckers, got a door card, so I can take the central locking one off the blue car. So I'll start pulling that down and we'll pull the engine out of that and stick it in this car. And all the suspension, all that sort of stuff, because it's all been fixed. Right, so Dave's going to come back and get his bull bar. We've got that at the front door. I'm freaking pissed off about this. She was good enough to leave her name and address though. But that looks stuffed. But yeah, this is looking good. Oh, good. Yeah, it's working. It's just a bit weak.
Yeah, it's a 23 watt globe for some reason.
Maybe it's how we.
Rear lights, I just want to. I think I had a stopper out there. I can do that.
Yeah, do you want me to jump on it?
Yeah. Off. On. Yeah, problem in the left hand light. I'm getting sick of it. I want to go and have a bourbon.
Fair enough. You're quibbling about taking that off. 4 screws. Weak.
Put your foot on the brake.
Weak. Alright. Whoop.
Off. On. Now the right one stopped working.
Told you to take it out, you dick.
No, the right one to stop is not even working now. It wasn't.
Hang on, I'll turn the parkers off because that'll get hot. Were they black?
No.
No.
They're all rusty. I gotta see them and shit. Just can't be bothered now.
Gets like that, doesn't it?
It's time to knock off.
Yeah, I agree. Have to go and see how Alana's going. Poor Alana had a seizure walking her dog this morning, so she's at the hospital. Epilepsy.
Is that the other new one?
No.
I threw the other new one on
You
the
put it in
front
the car.
seat, didn't I?
Just a bit of cosmetic stuff to do and it's all good. Now all you got to do is get it registered.
I'm wrapped. I got the original engine all fully rebuilt now.
Oh, was that the original engine? Oh, okay. How many Ks? 117.
Yeah, I don't reckon that's right.
No?
I don't reckon that's right because it's been on gas before and everything.
Oh, right, okay.
Someone's played with that.
Oh, well, you can take it now and do the other bits and pieces and then you're done.
Be something to do in our coronavirus lockdown.
Yeah, not got enough to do here. Alright. Well, that's it for this one. Only a very short video, but at the end of the day, we came up with a really nice looking product at the end. And we didn't have to put any paint on, just a bit of clear on the other side, just sort of areas there. But alright, take good care of yourselves. See you later, Dave.
See you later, guys. Thanks for helping me, Pete. I really appreciate it.
That's
You're a
all right.
master at what you do.
I haven't done anything. I did the wheels. And I painted the headlights around. And we did the rest of it together, eh? Now we've got this big dent, and we've kicked most of it out. Didn't do it properly. I'm using a rounded dolly behind it. Just manipulating it bit by bit. And on the high bits, I've just got a hammer with a t-shirt wrapped around it. But I can't get into some of these areas and it's all stretched. Originally it was stretched from here and here. You can see that mark there. Down there and down there. And it pulled the jam. I've got that better. But like it's stuffed, it really is. And so it's just a matter of doing what I can. Oops. I can't access behind it very well, although that it's sunk here. It's a hell of a lot better than it was. There's a couple of highs in there, which I can get down. They're easy because I can just put a dolly behind it here with that hammer, or hit around there. But it's getting into these sorts of areas here. I just want the thing to look better when it goes in, because we were very lucky with the amount of money we got for Charlie's car. You know, 2,700 is a lot of money, or 2,400, sorry. Where this was actually a much better looking car. But that's very ripply, and so I don't know if I can get it too much better than that without pulling all the interior out and doing this, that, the next thing. But yeah, it's I mean, you can push it. It's only very thin steel. I can't reach it though. That looks bloody awful, but you know what? She was a really good lady to leave her name there. And this is a lesson to me. I parked it in a spot out the front, which I probably shouldn't have. It was in a sort of crowded area of the street, and she's backed out of a drive and hit it. It's ripply and it's horrible, but I don't want to spend any more time on it. Looks like crap, but what do you do? It's the only thing I'm disappointed about is it will affect its trade value when it goes to back to Toyota. So, but you know, we did well with the other car, so if we don't go so well with this one, so be it. But good on her for being honest. So I've been pretty lazy with this, not for any other reason, just going to bed too late, watching movies with the kids and sleeping until all hours. And I could have had this in primer by now quite easily, but I haven't. But it doesn't matter. I'm not in any hurry really. I figured I'd drive that little blue guy around until I was ready, but the Commodore's back now, so you know, when we go to put the engine in, once we've painted this, which won't be too far away, although I've got rain tomorrow, we should be able to get this in paint soon, really soon. Just got to take those lines out and then I can pretty much do it. Just got to keep rubbing a few things back. And then, you know, we'll put the engine in first and put that old guy into the blue car, and then we'll call up Toyota. The thing that worries me though is the coronavirus and not knowing when they're going to close their doors. I guess we'll know a little bit more about that shortly, but if everyone has to close their doors, we might have to just wait the 6 months or whatever it is to get that car completed. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Take good care of yourselves, and I shall see you around. What do you reckon? Shit.